Kathy, KVB in New Jersey, you're up.
Thank you. So Coach, Scott told us to bring tissues, so I did. I had seen that video, but I was over here cheering away when he was kept scoring. So my question for you is, I have coached for many years on the high school level, and I know that we can't pick our own coaches on the high school level. So did you ever experience where coaches were given to you who coached with you that didn't necessarily align with your heart and your vision? And what did you do if that was the case?
Yeah, not too much because most of the time, although you're right, you don't have quite the control you would have. But they did give me a lot of power to, really pick the people when we had openings on our staff, and fortunately, I had good athletic directors that, wanted my input. So I think that is important anytime you do have a factor because we built a culture and we had a program, like our program mission was to develop winners on and off the court. So I wanted to make sure that our coaching staff were great leaders by example, that they cared about the kids first, that that the program was the most important thing in helping our young people, and that we treated everybody with respect, that we had high standards. So those are all things that we were really trying to work on. And then, I think it's really important, I would have, coaches meetings and then one-on-one check-ins. I think that's really important for both your coaching staff and your players. And, just simple things like, how are things going? How can I best support you? Is there something you need from me that I can help you in moving forward? And I would always ask my players, how can I be a better coach for you? And I would ask my assistant coaches, what do you need from me to be? Because the one thing that I took a lot of pride that we got, I think, pretty good at was that we open lines of communications where I wanted to hear from my coaches. I consistently wanted suggestions. But I also said to them is that, you know what, I'm not always going to agree. I'll tell you why, but I want you to keep peppering me with suggestions because that's how we're going to be best. Because one of the best things I learned in leadership that I struggled with early in my career is because as a head coach, you think you got to be the grand poobah. I got to have all the answers. And you don't. No one does. So is that when I decided that I had to get the best answer for my team, not my answer, that was a huge difference. And I will say this one last thing, Kathy, is that you got to make sure that you give the credit. Like I'll give you a quick example. We were in a tournament in many years ago in Pennsylvania. We're playing a really good team. We're up one with about 20 seconds to go, and my assistant coach comes up and we were primarily a man-to-man defensive team, and he says, "Coach, this team, all they know is man. Go zone, you'll confuse them." And I wasn't completely, and I went with him. And he was right on. They ended up throwing the ball away. We won the game in a close game. And I remember the newspaper, and we were interviewed on TV, and I gave credit right away to my assistant coach. Because if I took that, now you're losing your credibility, right? So
So important, so unbelievably important.